All right, for triangle 3, we're going to make what's called a median. Now I'm going to teach you what a median is. What I want you to do first is find the midpoint of each of these 3 sides. To find the midpoint, remember how we did perpendicular bisector, we creased all the way through? You're going to fold it and just pinch at one part. So take B, put it over point A, and you're going to line up your segments. Now, do not crease all the way through. We're not making a perpendicular bisector. We're just making a midpoint. So take your fingers and just pinch right there where the middle of that segment is. And when you open it up, see how you have a little crease there? Take your pencil and put a point right there. That is your midpoint. So you're going to put tick marks showing that's a midpoint. And I'll do the same thing on the other 2 segments. So put C on top of B. Line up your segments. And then just pinch it. Open it up and put your point, your midpoint. Since that is the midpoint, put tick marks showing that these 2 sides are congruent. And then do the same thing for AC. Okay, so I'm going to put 3 tick marks there to show those 2 segments are congruent. So now, a median, you've got 3 midpoints right now. The median is the segment that connects a midpoint to the opposite vertex. So A is a vertex. I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm going to connect point A to that midpoint. That segment is called a median. Okay, so draw an arrow to that segment, right, median. That's the type of segments. Okay, now do the same thing with the other. Take this midpoint here, connect it to the opposite vertex. That's a median. And do the same thing with point B and that midpoint. Now, if you did that perfectly, your 3 medians should all have a point of concurrency. Remember, that's called a point of concurrency right here in the middle. This point of concurrency is called the centroid. Centroid. So over here, I want you to write centroid. And the centroid is connected by, or is created by medians. And if you remember on your poem, you have CM. On my poem, it was cuz mom. Whatever your poem is, the C stands for centroid, the M stands for median. Okay, here's 2 things I want you to know about the centroid. Number 1, see how centroid is actually in the center? If you look at the other 2 triangle centers, this was our end center, and it's off a little too far to the left. The center would be more in this area. Our circumcenter is definitely not in the center, but the centroid is actually where the center is. So the centroid is the true center. So I want you to remember centroid, center. Centroid, center. The centroid is the true center, and it's also the balancing point. Like if I had a triangle, like this piece of paper was a triangle, and I wanted to balance it on one finger and find the place where it would balance, that balancing point is the centroid. So true center / balancing point. And we'll talk about some reasons people actually want to find the true center of a triangle or the balancing point of a triangle. The other part of a centroid deals with the medians. Do you see where the centroid hits? And on this median, you have this long part, and then you have this short part. And y'all can grab some highlighters that are around the room. Well, for each one of these, see, this is the long part, that's the short part, this is the long part, that's the short part there, okay? So each one of these medians is cut in this long part, short part ratio. Well, we've already done similar triangles and similarity in ratios, but the centroid, where this is, it actually splits it so that this long part is always going to be twice as long as the short part. So if I say that this part here is 4, what's the length of the orange part going to be? Well, since this is twice as long, if that part is 4, this part would be 8, because 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, so the centroid splits the median in a 2-to-1 ratio. Splits the median in a 2-to-1 ratio. Okay, and so we'll deal with some equations and some problems later on where you'll work more with that 2-to-1 ratio. But for right now, I just want you to know that the centroid is the point of concurrency created by the medians. And a median connects the vertex to the midpoint. Now take in your ISN, go to page 59, and tape this at the top, not because underneath it you want to put some other stuff, but just put a little piece of tape at the top and tape this on page 59 in your ISN.